welcome. Would you like to introduce your name, course, and your year?
Yep, so I'm Elle. I'm a second year law student at Worcester College, University of Oxford.
Could you explain to the viewers slash subscribers what we're going to be doing today?
So today we're going to be talking about some Oxford University myths, and I will be saying sort of whether they're true, whether they're false, or somewhere in between.
Oxford is socially exclusive.
Okay, so I think that this is a difficult one. I think, like, in my experience and in a lot of my friends' experiences, it's been very inclusive. Like college like families and groups have just meant that everybody gets really close and everyone's there to support you, and like I think it kind of pushes people together. I think in some ways it's socially exclusive just because of the history of Oxford and some of the traditions in Oxford, and I feel as though that can kind of sometimes make people feel a little bit excluded. However, I think that the student population are just like trying so hard to change that, and so I really hope that I'm really hoping that that's changing. A really good like YouTube channel to go and check out is Melanie. She is a student at the University of Oxford. I can't remember what her YouTube channel is called, which is really bad because I watch all of her videos.
We'll leave it in the description.
Yeah, but her YouTube channel is really good for providing like a really, really honest depiction of what it's like to be at Oxford. And I think that you should definitely check that out if you're kind of considering.
And your YouTube channel. So obviously you've got your YouTube too, just to kind of put it out there for students if they want to know what it's like to actually study at Oxford too. Yeah. So second, Oxford is expensive.
So kind of as a city, Oxford is more expensive than other places in the country, only because of its location. Like, it's a southern city. However, to be perfectly honest, the price jump really is nowhere near as bad as I thought it would be, to be perfectly honest, because I was worried, like, coming from Sheffield, where things are generally a bit cheaper than in the south, it would be a huge leap, and it hasn't been, to be perfectly honest. But as kind of I've said in some other videos that we've filmed, like, actually being a student in Oxford is really inexpensive in comparison to other universities, because there are so many provisions in place for students financially. So whether it's, you know, accommodation being a lot cheaper than it is elsewhere in the country, whether it's kind of the extensive scholarships and bursaries that are in place in Oxford, or, you know, the fact that food is subsidised, and just like all of these things, it's actually kind of, for me personally, I'm in a much better financial position in Oxford than at another university.
It's impossible to get in.
I mean, I'm here. Yeah, it's not impossible to get in. So I think this is kind of a difficult one, because, like, yes, realistically, the chances of getting in can be quite low, but I think that also that's like focusing on a small percentage of subjects. Like, there are some subjects where it's especially competitive, but then there are some subjects that are generally like a little more undersubscribed, where there's kind of a 50-50 chance of you getting in. I think overall the odds are like 1 in 5 that you will get an offer, which really, like, when you think about it, isn't that bad. And, you know, we're not all geniuses, and I mean, I'm definitely not.
That's literally the next myth. You have to be a genius to go to Oxford.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not. I do so many dumb things. Oh my God. Yeah, definitely not true. We're just all kind of people who really enjoy our subjects, and had the grades to get in, which actually, like, the grade requirements are really no higher than at other sort of top universities in the UK. In fact, Oxford was my lowest, pretty much my lowest, like, grade requirement for law. So you shouldn't let that put you off either.
The application process is scary.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, it can be quite intimidating. Like, so for example, for law, I did my personal statement, obviously, like everyone does, and like my whole UCAS thing. And then I had an admissions test, which is called the LNAT, which was just kind of completely unlike anything I'd ever done before. And that was quite daunting because it's a test. And then the interview process. So you go in and you have interviews, and that can be quite daunting. But I would say that it's kind of completely normal to find the process a bit daunting. And it's also not as bad as I think you would be made to think. Like for me, by far, the worst part was the admissions test. The interviews themselves were absolutely fine. Like the tutors were just really nice. It was just a really casual conversation. So yeah, don't kind of let that aspect of it put you off applying.
It's boring, no fun, and full of geeks.
I hope not. No, I don't think that's true. I mean, like, there's you know, still a big nightlife. There's like laser clubs and that kind of thing. So from that point of view, but also like Oxford students, it's such a big thing to be involved in society. So I just know so many people who dedicate a lot of time to like drama, sports, you know, hosting their own radio station, just doing all of these different things. There's literally a society for everything you could possibly imagine. There's some really weird and wacky ones out there. I'm pretty sure there's like a Tiddlywink society, which is just like not a good example of like a really fun, interesting society for most people. But yeah, basically there's a society for everything. So there's a lot of social events going on.
Oxford is all work and no play.
Yeah, again, kind of linking back to that, you know, people go out, like people have fun, people, you know, the work can be pretty intense. But I think along with that is the fact that when people get to the end of the day, the end of the week or whatever, they want to have fun. And so they either go out or they might like stay in with their friends, or, you know, there's plenty of time to socialise and doing fun things.
Okay, this one's a bit long, but
okay.
In order to graduate from Oxford, you must be fluent in Latin and ancient Greek, have your science certificate confirming your ability to operate a punt to a satisfactory standard, sign articles of the Church of England, and demonstrate at least intermediate level proficiency at fencing, archery, horsemanship, and versification.
Oh God, I hope not, because I don't know what some of those even mean. So yeah, no, I think like I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even realise until I went to Oxford that studying Latin and ancient Greek at school was still a thing. Like none of the schools in my area did that. My school certainly didn't do that. Yeah, like I didn't know that was still a thing. Some people still do study Latin at school and like do know it, but definitely not essential. I don't have a clue. I just use Google Translate if anything comes up in law that's like in Latin. Yeah, punting, yeah, no, not at all. I can't even remember what the others were, but I can't do most of them. In fact, I don't think I can do any of them. So yeah, I hope not, because I'm expecting to get a degree at the end of this.
So lastly, Oxford University has no culture.
Oh, okay. So I think that in terms of like an Oxford culture, when you talk about like, you know, traditions and being part of a community, I think it definitely does. I think that there are so many sort of traditions that unite us all. There are so many sort of fun things that we do. Like we have this thing called Midway, where we all celebrate the middle of our degrees. That's really fun. Like, and it's a pretty tight-knit community. Like it's nice. I think that in terms of the culture at Oxford, though, it could become more diverse. I'd like to see Oxford as a whole celebrating like a broader range of, you know, events and those kind of things, but I think that we're kind of getting there. But in terms of like an Oxford culture, like as a university, it definitely does.
Is there anything else you think students need to know about Oxford University?
I think the biggest thing is that, you know, Oxford has got a way to go in terms of the students that it admits and the makeup of the staff and that kind of thing. However, I think that the biggest thing like to push is that you should just apply if you like are passionate about your subject, if you have got the academic potential to go for it, because you know Oxford is changing and the students are pushing for it to change. And so don't let anyone convince you that Oxford isn't for people like you, because I kind of really nearly let that get to me, and it's not true. Oxford is for anyone who has the potential to be there.